We welcome into the show Steve Nicol and Julien Laurens. Stevie, we've asked for your top 6, your top scorer, your player of the year, and your relegated 3 in... Oh, and look at this. First things first, let's talk about this picture. Look at that dashing young man. My goodness, what a head of hair.
At least 30 years ago. What?
Last time Liverpool won it all. All right, so he's got Liverpool as the champion, Manchester City 2nd, United 3rd, Chelsea 4th, Spurs 5th, Arsenal 6th, Kun Agüero, your top scorer, Kevin De Bruyne, your player of the year, Fulham, Aston Villa, West Brom going down. Stevie, I'm surprised you picked Liverpool. Why?
Yes. Well, I can sense a little bit of sarcasm in your voice, but I mean, how could you not pick Liverpool? You know, considering that I think the main challengers are going to be City and Liverpool again, the fact that Liverpool finished 18 points ahead of City, and City have pretty much done nothing to change that in the starting 11, as have Liverpool not done anything. So all things being equal, I don't understand why you cannot go for Liverpool, other than just a gut feeling or well, it's hard to win it twice in a row. After that, it was a lot tougher. You know, I think I went Man United 3rd because they've shown us pretty much what their average game recently has been way above the level of what it has been, and that's why they ended up in 3rd position. They were winning the games they should have done and struggled a little bit in games against the big boys. So I think that's straightforward. Chelsea's 4th, and I've got Chelsea 4th because it's all about potential. You know, if you look at the signings, generally they're all attacking signings, all good signings. Havertz and Werner. I think Silva's a good signing at the back, but he is a little bit long in the tooth, and the question for me is whether he can last the season. Outside of that, I really struggled. I went for Spurs and Arsenal only because, you know, Leicester had an incredible start last year and tailed off at the end. Wolves have been surprising us for 2 seasons. Can they do it again? And of course, the Mourinho factor with Spurs. I think Arteta's going to make Arsenal better, but how much better, I'm not so sure. Because, listen, if there's one team that can't handle an injury to their best player, it's Arsenal. Because without Aubameyang, I don't know where they end up. So that's the reason behind my top 6.
Ale, I'll ask you the question that Stevie posed. How could you not pick Liverpool? Because you did indeed pick Manchester City.
I did. And the reason is it was a perfect season.
What are you, 14 in that picture?
My goodness. My goodness.
Speaking of playing weight.
Let me tell you, this picture was at the Major League Soccer draft back in, I'm going to guess, 2001, 2002,
wow.
Something like that.
A generation has passed.
A generation has passed. What about that shirt? Don't say anything about the shirt, because the reason I wore it was because the reason I wore that shirt was because my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, got me that shirt. So
Right. So we won't say anything about the shirt.
Whether you like it or not, give it to yourself.
Can we get another look at your, not the pick, but the picks themselves?
Well, yes, I go for Manchester City, and the reason is I thought Liverpool's season last year was magical, was perfect. Everything went their way. There were no major injuries. Everything and everybody was playing up to their potential. And those seasons are difficult to have, certainly on back-to-back years. The other thing is that you also spent a good chunk of the second half of the season last year, as well as the early part of this year, hearing about how good you are, how wonderful you are. Everybody's patting you in the back. Everybody's telling you how most wonderful season that you had. And you're living on that, and so it's then very difficult to kind of turn up the engines again and get it going. And there are going to be moments in which you're going to need that hunger, that energy, all of that motivation that took you to have the season that you had last year. You're going to need it this year, and it's not always easy to recreate it. The magic within a locker room is not easy to recreate on back-to-back years. I've been there, and I have a sense that it's always kind of difficult to be able to replicate the sort of performances that they had. On the other hand, Manchester City found ways to lose games in key moments. And while it is the same group, essentially, that is coming back, this is a healthier version of that very same group. So maybe this is a moment in which Liverpool comes back to the pack, Manchester City plays up to their potential, and that's where Manchester City overtakes Liverpool.
Let's get a look at Jules' predictions for the upcoming season. You can play a little bit of a tiebreaker for us since you and Stevie are split. And wow,
man.
I mean, that takes the cake, right? That picture right there. Look at those locks.
Look at the hair. It's just, you imagine that hair in the wind? That's just flowing locks right there.
So Jules went City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, Manchester United, Spurs. Aubameyang is his top scorer, player of the year. KDB, Fulham, West Brom, and Brighton. To get relegated. First things first, you got Manchester United out of the top four, Jules. Explain yourself, because you're the only one in this group to do so.
I mean, first the photo, that was before children and clearly as well before barbers existed. So I guess I've got an excuse, you know. For Man United, I think below City, Liverpool and Chelsea, I think the rest will be really tight between Spurs, United and Arsenal. I believe in what Arteta is trying to do, what he's doing at Arsenal. I like the signings that they've made. I like the fact that Aubameyang is staying, and I really expect him to have a very strong season. That's why I put him as the top goal scorer for me this year. But again, I think it will be very, very tight between the three. And I do wonder, I think United, as we saw at the end of last season when Solskjaer kept playing the same starting 11 because there was not enough depth in the squad. Yeah, okay, they bought Donny van de Beek, but I still don't think there's enough depth there for them to play Champions League football, Premier League, at that kind of level with the kind of energy that is required, really, because Solskjaer won't be able to really put a turnover in that team and rotate his players. So that's why I went for Arsenal fourth, and then United, and then Spurs.
Unlike Jules, you didn't have Arsenal in your top four. Why?
Well, because I thought that Manchester United and Chelsea were better. Simple as that.
That's it.
Manchester United trended in the correct direction towards the end of last season, and Chelsea have made a lot of good additions. The only reason that I have Chelsea as fourth and not higher than that is because it's going to take some time for all of that to come together. But in the end, they're going to be a better version of whatever Arsenal has to offer.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.